Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying New World. Today's video is going to be about both the trade skills and also the crafting in towns. They are very heavily interlinked. Been able to grind up New World over the past few days and slowly getting my character level up, but I've also been focusing a lot on both the gathering and the refining skills. And as you can see, my crafting is very mixed. Currently having not crafted a single bit of gem or a single item of furnishing either. But in my opinion, this is perfectly fine. You don't need to focus on everything in the game, especially when you're starting out. It's definitely worth just to pick and choose your options and what's going to be most useful to you, which I'll get into in today's video. I'm going to start off by explaining the relationship between different trade skills, but in particular those that link between the crafting, gathering and refining tabs. Your gathering, let's say, is where you start off leveling every one of these different other skills. It's going to be most important to level these up first to allow you to access different resources to then improve on your gathering. Each of them links to a different type of skill, and I'll try and explain which ones do that just now. First off, we have logging. Now logging is used mostly in furnishing in the crafting tab, but obviously it's also used in woodworking. Logging is also used intermittently between a lot of these: Arcana, Engineering, and also weaponsmithing as well. So those are the three things that logging is going to be able to improve upon. Mining, similar to logging, links to a lot of them. It links obviously to smelting, stone cutting for your gems and your stone, but then obviously your weaponsmithing, armoring, engineering, jewel crafting, Arcana. Everything is going to be influenced by your mining. Fishing is a bit more niche. From fishing, after salvaging materials, you might sometimes get things to aid in different things, but fishing is going to be something you can't do on the side, with the chance of getting good loot drops. Harvesting, again, is one that's used across the board. Less so than logging and mining. It's mostly focused around armoring, engineering, and also occasionally Arcana. Tracking and skilling is very similar to harvesting. It's good for armoring, engineering, but also can be used for a few of the other options. And obviously it links to the leatherworking tab. Next up, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to improve your level in each of the different stations. One of the key things you're going to want in the early game is going to be a good bag. Bags are really important to increase your carry weight and your encumbrance, so you're not overburdened with items. Now, the way you have to do this is you have to get your armory level up, which doesn't make much sense, but oh well. So to do this, you have to get level 50 armory to unlock the rugged leather bag, which is kind of like the mid-game tier item. But obviously, you can then get other bags, such as the layered bag, which you get at 100, and the infused bag, which you get at level 150. So obviously, you're gonna have to work your way up through armory to unlock these, and as you can imagine, these are quite valuable in the late game, and having a high armor skill is going to allow you to unlock these for your friends, your faction mates, but also other people on the server, so you can sell them for lots of money. So it's definitely something that you're going to want to level up. This is why I went for the rugged bag quite early. It's really important to make sure that you're able to craft these items. So, how do I get my armor to level 50? I don't have any armor I've crafted equipped. So, what's the best way to do it? If you look here, you can see how and when you unlock each of the different items. You're going to start off with not a fat lot, really. Level 0 is what you start off with when you begin, and you only then unlock stuff when you get to level 50. So how do you get to level 50? Well, the best way to do this is to press this tab here, sort by name, and you're going to see different things. So if I sort by level, you can see the order in which things. If I sort by tier, you're going to see which tier armor they are. Currently I'm sat about tier 3 stuff, which is kind of standard. Sort by gear score. This is also really useful. It can show you what items are going to give you what. Now this is probably more useful actually if you're making weapons, because weapons and gear score weapons is much more important to learn. But the one that how you find out how to level them most quickly is by sorting by XP. You're going to be able to see which of the different things you can craft and how much XP they can give you. Now, bearing in mind that some of this stuff is unlocked at level 50, what I used to craft and to get my level up was the linen shirt. So the linen shirt gave me 420 XP. That is the most I was able to get between level 0 to 50. If you also look at the coarse leather shirt as well, that's another item that I was able to craft early on. But due to the value that obviously leather has, I chose to go for a linen shirt. It was as it's essentially cheaper. Now, sometimes, although this gives the most XP, it might be more beneficial for you to craft something else. So, for example, the linen bonnet. This is significantly cheaper than the linen shirt. But in terms of actually materials, if you were to break down these two items here, it's going to cost you less linen and less leather to get the same amount of XP, which is good. But it costs one more iron. So, in terms of efficiency, I crafted linen shirts. Another really important thing you need to notice is where it says these three drop downs here. So, for example, the game might automatically say, oh, you're going to use silver rather than, or you're going to use steel rather than silver. And yes, this is fine if you want to get your gear score up, but for leveling you want to use the cheapest material possible. So make sure you check all of these three boxes and you're not using expensive material. So sometimes the game might see, right now it's suggesting that I use rugged leather. I do not want to use rugged leather, as coarse leather is far more, it's much cheaper than rugged. So it's really important that you make sure you check all of these three things. Once you have your gear score to 50, you're able to craft the rugged leather bag. I've currently got all the resources, bar the major ring I'm holding, so I could have crafted one if I wanted to. But here is where it's quite important. So you see here, it says tier 3 leather primary. This is where you need to have tier 3 leather. So in order to get this, you have to level up your leatherworking skill, which I'll get to in a minute. But on the other hand, it also says cloth. Now, I've got a fair bit of sateen because my level of weaving is quite high, so I've been able to farm lots of sateen. But in this case, I can actually use linen. For the actual difference it makes, 5 gear score, it's much worth it just to use linen. Perhaps if you wanted to make some really, really good stuff in the late game, and like this is going to be your final best in slot piece of gear, you might want to use the best possible material. But right now, whilst I'm leveling, don't bother. Same with the steel. Currently, obviously, I've only got steel, but when I'm making this bag, I'd probably use iron, because steel is 4 times the cost of iron. Once you have all your resources input in this slot, you're going to want to look at this side of the bar as well. This is where you can equip some of the craft mods that you unlock throughout the game to certain things. Currently I don't have any, and that's fine, because what you can do is you can add Azoth to secure yourself a perk chance. So if you see on this side of the screen here, it says we've got a medium chance to secure a perk. That's actually quite good. That's not too bad. But if you want to make sure that you definitely get a perk and you definitely make the best bit of gear possible, you're going to have to add Azoth. Now, it's up to you how much you want to invest, but for me the difference between 13 and 15 Azoth isn't that much, and I'd rather make sure that I have a definite chance of getting a perk. And as you can see, it gives you a completely random perk. So, one I was able to unlock the other day was this. So, I've got Plentiful Shells, which isn't personally good for me, but also Alchemist Burden, which is actually really quite good. So you do run the risk of getting a mediocre slot. Shells means nothing to me as a bow user. Would have been much nicer to be arrows, but I can't complain too much. But Alchemist Burden is really nice because of how much these can actually weigh. I've currently got equipped a bit of a better bag. I get more off when I find some, and I also reduce the weight of rawhide leather and skinning, which is, as a Dex user, that's really useful because you get buffs in this tab. Now that was just one example of min-maxing your crafting to get efficient levels, but another way you can be able to do this is through the use of other items. Now I currently don't have any equipped, but I do have some gathering items, which are going to help me gather items much quicker. So I'm currently in my storage. As you can see here, I've got a few items that are giving me reinforced look. Now I did have a pair of trousers which gave me better tanning XP and better chance to get better loot from tanning, so you can find them quite easily, but I seem to have lost them. I think I might have accidentally disenchanted them, so oops. But yeah, so these items actually give you better luck when doing certain, I don't know, So in gathering, for example, so let's say I wanted to go out and get some hemp or some other flowers or herbs, or the rarer drops that you find around the map. I would definitely want to equip these two sets of armor. That's giving me quite an increased chance of finding better stuff, and that's really, really good. You can end up with some much better gear, and you actually can find rarer stuff. Just from mining, mining with extra luck, I was able to get some rarer gems, including including some Fey Iron, which is extremely quite rare and quite hard to get. Now, another way you can actually increase your chance of luck, especially when gathering, is through the cooking menu. Now, cooking is probably quite an underutilized and underrated skill. Obviously, when crafting items, and when playing around the world, you're going to come across lots of different animals, and you're going to want to skin these animals for different materials. You do get enough starter food with it as well, but upon leveling up your food a lot by crafting travel rations, I would recommend crafting these over the rations, and then eventually unlocking light meals. You're going to end up unlocking different types of food. So a really good way to sort it is actually to look at the tab, so you can see that apart from basic cooking, I've got foods. These are going to give me the option to give me strength if I needed it. So the fruit salad would give me a bonus of strength. Dex, which is useful for me as a dex user, so I might want to make some shooter sandwiches. If I knew I was getting PvPing, if I knew I had a war coming up, I'd definitely look to make some of these. And if I had the bread, I would make some now, but I don't. Now, the one thing you're going to want to most look for is the trade skill foods. These are going to give you a lot of XP. Now, 1,000 luck seems like an arbitrary number, and it sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. It's not absolutely amazing. It's a pretty decent amount, and it's going to give you a good chance to find some rarer stuff if you're going on, let's say, a logging spree. The ones that are probably most useful is going to be the herb roasted potatoes. These increase your mining by 1,400, and they're a tier 2 recipe. So you can actually get some pretty good stuff if you eat some of these potatoes. I've currently got some. I did have some. I think I must have used them all up. But yeah, I've used them and I've been able to get some pretty good stuff from it. You don't actually unlock much better stuff later down the line. You unlock some tier 3 things, which are going to help boost your crafting. But these come at level 150. So in the early game, probably most of you guys, you're not going to currently have 150 crafting. But I would definitely look at 150 when you unlock these 5 menus. They're going to give you buffs when enchanting and crafting things. So it's definitely worth crafting food if you plan on going gathering or fighting, for example. So yeah, definitely get your food up. It's not too hard to do. Like I said, you have the option to also change whatever food you have here. Doesn't actually necessarily change all too much. If I was to use this, for example, which is a legendary bit of item, it doesn't change anything. It just changes the chance of crafting additional items, which, yeah, definitely not worth it. I might choose to use poultry thighs because obviously they're only an uncommon item. I would not want to use my legendary fish. Okay, my one final tip for crafting is going to be to check again the state of the town. Now, as you can see from this video, Windswood was quite a popular place to be. It was fairly quite populated with people doing crafting and such. This is probably because of their crafting, refining, and taxes. They're on their way to getting almost all tier 3 refining tabs, but also they have a good kitchen, tier 4 kitchen, and also a good workshop as well. Workshop is probably one of the most important places to craft, as it gives you the option to your tools, your steel tools, and eventually your star metal tools as well. So this is a really important one. One thing it doesn't have is an outfitting station. So when I actually crafted my bag, I went down to Cutler's Keys, which does. So that's got a tier 4 outfitting station. That gave me the option to craft my tier 3 bag. I wasn't able to do it in Windswood. When travelling down to Cutler's Keys, on fast travels, make sure you empty out your inventory, but obviously take all the stuff that you need. Okay guys, well, thanks a lot for watching. Hope this was a quick and basic overview of the crafting experience in New World. There's a few things that people have been stuck on and probably don't understand and just need a quick nudge on the right path to kind of fully unlock the ability to craft in New World. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, guys. Take care.